Good afternoon. My name is Dave Curtis. The date today is January 20th, 2021. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate to the viewer that I'm able to speak English fluently. The reason this has been called into question is because during August of 2019, I had a series of 2 or 3 days in the aircraft where I was unable to speak fluently due to a lifelong stutter that I have. The stutter that I have has never affected me in the aircraft until that week in August of 2019. I will say, and I think it's important to note, that when I noticed it and when it became an issue, I immediately self-grounded myself and entered into the Fitness for Duty program with my employer. The purpose of this program is to evaluate the crew members individually to see if there's any outstanding aeromedical issues that can be corrected and get the employee or the crew member back in the cockpit. What we discovered throughout the evaluation process is one, that I had throat cancer. I had tonsillar carcinoma, which you do have the file on. I received treatment for that over the course of a couple of months in 2020. Once that treatment was complete, I felt it was necessary to enroll in a speech reconstruction course at the Hollins Research and Communication Institute in Roanoke, Virginia. The Hollins Research and Communication Institute 12-day course is a very intense program where they essentially break your speech down and reconstruct it, giving you the tools necessary to speak fluently. Since then, I've been practicing at home. I participate in 2 20-minute practice sessions a day at home and do self-evaluation and self-monitoring on a minute-by-minute basis to determine if I'm using those tools effectively. Throughout the course of this video, I'm going to demonstrate a couple of checklist items. I'll be reading a before start checklist. I'll be doing a takeoff briefing, and I'll also be doing an emergency checklist and a series of mock radio calls. Give me just a moment and I'll get started. The takeoff briefing is going to sound something like this. Good afternoon. We're going to be using runway 25 right at Los Angeles today. The runway is going to be dry, hard packed, braking conditions are good. Auto throttle mode will be FMS. Speed mode will be FMS. Flap setting will be 1. Flap retraction altitude will be 800 feet. Engine out procedures and other contingencies include, we're going to fly runway heading to 2,000 feet. There are no obstacles straight ahead off runway 25 right at LAX, and we'll maintain 2,000 feet. For an engine out procedure, the weather here at LAX is adequate to return. Once we get things squared away and the emergency stabilized, we'll go ahead and request vectors back to runway 25 right at Los Angeles. There's no noise abatement procedure off 25 right. Should things go normally, we're flying the Los Angeles 8 departure, which once we get to 3,000 feet, they'd like us to make a left turn, a heading of 210, and then climb and maintain 5,000 feet. That's just an example. I don't have any special considerations other than the airspace and the busyness of the airport here. Let's make sure that we follow the instructions of air traffic control and eliminate any ambiguity in instructions when they occur. Any questions? My co-pilot at that point hopefully should say no questions. From there, we can go to a before start checklist. This before start checklist comes from the Citation Latitude, the last aircraft I was checked out to fly in. Before start checklist. Final walk around, verified completed. Plugs and covers, verified stowed. Torque link, verified connected. Access panels and doors, verified closed and secure. Keys, verified stowed. Altimeters, verified 2992, 50 feet, field elevation. Trims, verified takeoff, 3 centered. Interior master, on. Parking brake, on. Departure briefing completed. The before start checklist is complete. Next, I'll read the QRC, the quick reference card for an in-flight engine fire for the citation latitude. In-flight engine fire. If engine fire occurs prior to accomplishing the after takeoff checklist, flaps up, landing gear up, APU off, auto throttle disengage, left or right thrust lever confirm idle. If fire warning indication persists after 15 seconds, left or right engine fire confirm press. Bottle 1 or 2 armed confirm press. Bus tie closed. If APU is operating, amber bus tie closed ICAS message may be displayed. If fire warning indications persist after 30 seconds, bottle 1 or 2 armed push, press. Wing crossflow, crossflow. If in icing conditions, minimum airspeed of 180 knots. Fuel quantity and balance, monitor. Transponder TCAS, TA only. If left engine shut down, consider use of APU generator to power left electrical bus. If APU started, set bus tie to open. If continued flight in icing conditions, accomplish the QRH continued flight in icing conditions and single bleed air source. When ready for approach, accomplish engine in-op approach QRC and land as soon as possible. What I've done is I've just done a crew briefing for you. I've done a before start checklist, and I've done an emergency checklist for the citation latitude. Next, I'll do a series of mock radio calls. Assume the aircraft is parked at the Los Angeles International Airport. Assume we're at Atlantic Aviation, which is on the south side of the airport adjacent to Alpha Taxiway. The calls will go something like this. Los Angeles Ground ExecJet 592, we're at Atlantic Aviation, request taxi with information Charlie. Ground would reply, ExecJet 592, good morning, runway 25 right, taxi via Alpha, hold short of Foxtrot. I would respond, 25 right for departure, will taxi via Alpha and hold short of Foxtrot, ExecJet 592. From there, the ground controller will turn us onto Foxtrot. ExecJet 592, make the left turn on Foxtrot, hold short of runway 25 left. ExecJet 592, left turn on Foxtrot, hold short 25 left. From there, we can expect crossing instructions. ExecJet 592, Los Angeles Ground, cross runway 25 left, cross runway 25 right, join Charlie Taxiway, taxi 25 right. I would respond, clear to cross 25 left, clear to cross 25 right, join Charlie Taxiway to 25 right, ExecJet 592. After crossing both runways and joining Charlie, I'd monitor the tower, and I'd expect to hear instructions similar to this. ExecJet 592, Los Angeles Tower, runway 25 right, line up and wait. I would respond, 25 right, line up and wait, ExecJet 592. From there, a takeoff clearance. ExecJet 592, Los Angeles Tower, wind 25010, runway 25 right, cleared for takeoff. I would respond, cleared for takeoff, 25 right, ExecJet 592. After gear retraction and sometime in the first couple hundred feet of the climb out, I'd likely hear, ExecJet 592, Los Angeles Tower, contact departure. I would respond, ExecJet 592, over to departure. SoCal departure, ExecJet 592, climbing through 800 for 5,000. ExecJet 592, climb maintain flight level 190, speed restrictions removed. ExecJet 592, climb maintain flight level 190, normal speed. Thank you. The only other radio calls I can think to demonstrate for you would be perhaps to ask for a deviation, a ride report, or to declare some sort of other emergency representing a stressful situation. I'll start with the two easier ones. ExecJet 592, Albuquerque Center, ExecJet 592. We see a thunderstorm up ahead about 100 miles. Request 10 degrees left for weather, please. Albuquerque hopefully responds with, ExecJet 592, 10 degrees left approved, report direct El Paso. ExecJet 592, 10 degrees to the left, approve. Will report direct El Paso. Thank you. Another radio call may be Fort Worth Center, ExecJet 592. We're getting moderate chop at flight level 410. Request ride report, flight level 390. They might reply with ExecJet 592. We've had no complaints at flight level 390. I would respond with ExecJet 592. Request flight level 390. Fort Worth Center hopefully gives me ExecJet 592. Descend and maintain flight level 390. I respond, maintain flight level 390. The third and probably the most challenging call would be in case of an emergency. Say we have a pressurization problem up at flight level 410 and we need to do some sort of emergency descent. The radio call might sound something like this. And assume we're talking to Denver in this case. Denver Center, ExecJet 592, we're losing pressurization, flight level 410. Would like to start an emergency descent immediately to flight level, or to 15,000, please. Denver Center would hopefully respond with, ExecJet 592, understand the emergency, descend and maintain flight level 240. I'll have 15,000 for you here shortly. I would respond with, flight level 240 for ExecJet 592. At that point, I'm doing a bunch of checklist items in the aircraft, worrying about the passengers and the oxygen requirements of the crew as well. At some point, ATC will say, ExecJet 592, continue your descent, descend and maintain 15,000. I would respond with, descend and maintain 15,000. When able, we'd like direct Denver Airport, please. They hopefully respond with, proceed direct Denver, ExecJet 592. I say, direct Denver, ExecJet 592. Thank you for viewing this video. I hope that I've demonstrated my ability to maintain fluent speech.